hello. I'm Connor, and I won't do that again in this video, I promise. But what I will do is I'm going to show you how to use a delay pedal, covering everything that you need to know from how to set it up with your guitar and get it working, to the controls and how they work, and I'll finish up with some of my favorite settings to get you started as well. So let's start by setting it up, and there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. The first and most common is to connect your guitar's output to your pedal's input, and then your pedal's output to your amplifier's input. And this is called setting it up front of amp, and it's how we set up most guitar pedals. But if your amplifier has an FX loop, which is usually on the back, then you can set your pedal up here, and what that'll do is it'll give you a much cleaner delay sound. To do this, connect the FX loop send to the pedal's input, and then the pedal's output to the FX loop return. And without getting too technical, what this means is that your delay pedal isn't going through your amplifier's preamp, so it's not being colored in any way. So as I said, you get a much cleaner delay sound. And some pedals like this Boss DD3 have a direct out, and what that does, it just gives you another way to set up your pedal if you want. So if you've got two amplifiers, you could connect the direct out into your main amp, which is just the clean signal without any of the delay, and then you can set the output to the other amplifier just to have the delays, so it just gives you a bit more flexibility. Now, if you're using a delay pedal alongside other guitar pedals, I recommend putting it towards the end of the signal chain, usually as the last thing just before the reverb. And the reason for that is it will give you the cleanest sound, and putting it before the reverb sounds more natural to our ears. That being said, feel free to experiment because you can get really weird with delay pedals. Finally, connect your pedal to a power source, either using some kind of power adapter or a battery if your pedal takes them. Personally, I always recommend using a power adapter over a battery because they're much more reliable. A battery will give out when you need it most. Now onto the controls. And the exact controls and the names of them will vary from pedal to pedal, but you should have controls that set the effect level, the feedback, and the time. Effect level sets the intensity of the effect. At its lowest setting, there won't be any effect applied. At a halfway setting, it will be a 50-50 split between your original signal and the delayed signal. And a max setting will give you the full effect volume. Feedback sets the number of times that the delay repeats. So at its lowest setting, you might just have a singular echo. Whereas at its highest setting, you might have this endless stream of echoes. And that can sound quite muddy, so just tread carefully with that one. And time controls the space between the echoes. So at a lower setting, you'll have a really quick, snappy delay. Whereas if you turn it up, it will be long, drawn-out echoes. Some other common controls that you might come across are tone, which sets how warm or sharp sounding the delays are. A mode knob that can let you select different types of delay, or like this one, which sets the range of the time knob. And tempo controls that let you tap the pedal so that the delays are played to a certain tempo. If you haven't already, I really recommend reading your pedal's manual, just because over the years I've learned so many secrets just from sitting down and opening it up that it's worth it. I do it every time now, even if it's a really simple looking pedal. Now that you're all set up, here's a few of my favorite settings to help get you started. First up, we've got slapback delay, and this is a real vintagey sound for rock and blues, and reminds me a lot of Joe Bonamassa's 2010s era sound. It really thickens up your guitar part. Next up is a more generic middle of the road sound, but it's quite useful, especially for rhythm parts. Now we have a more ambient and spacey delay, and I find that this works really well for those big solos. As a tip, I think it works best if you clean up your tone a little bit beforehand. So just drop the volume on your guitar slightly, and that should help round off some of that harshness. Finally, we've got this rhythmic style playing, and this isn't so much of a setting as it is just a musical idea and a way that you can use your delay. And I think the best example of this is Big Sur Moon by Buckethead. And that's it, your delay pedal should be all set up. If you like this video, give it a like to help it reach more people, and I'll see you in the next one.